a lot of times I go into the home, you're right, but sometimes you just got to get them where they work, and that's what we're doing here today. I'm already, look at me, I'm really comfortable and stuff, but this is an important one to me for two reasons. One, I guess a business relationship, but also a personal friendship as
Yes.
well. So Michelle Holbrook, thank you so much for
Of
your
course.
time today.
Yes.
Well, you're busy.
Yeah.
Like all the time, like past 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
usually.
we're here at Sarnia, Lambton Rebound, which
Yeah.
you're executive director of now.
Yep.
How long has that been?
Almost 3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're going to come to that, how that's going and how you got here and everything.
Sure.
But you've had quite a career, but you're from Sarnia originally.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
Yep.
How was growing up?
Oh, that's a big question.
Yeah.
Growing up was interesting. I went to a really small elementary school. Our Lady Mercy's no longer there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, across from McDonald's on Christina Street.
Yeah.
That was the Friday thing. Go to McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
And I went to St. Pat's. Parents divorced when I was very young.
Yeah. Okay. Like before high school kind of thing?
Oh yeah, like I think I was in like grade 3, grade 2.
Wow.
Like
It must have been hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then my mom and I, it was just my mom and I
Yep.
for a while, and grew up mostly in poverty.
Okay.
Was always a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna have lunch tomorrow? You know, those kind of
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
Right. Right. But you overcame that.
I overcame that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And did you have other influences that helped you with that
Oh.
around you?
My grandmother was 100% the reason why I turned out okay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was the most incredible human. I wish everyone could have met her.
Oh wow.
But she passed in 2006, but she was the person who always believed in me.
What's her name?
Her name was Simone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice that you can say that about grandparents. I
Yes.
think we always kind of look for that special influence that our grandma said, you know, this
Yeah.
and that. So you still carry that with you, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
She is the reason I am who I am.
Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. So high school, like, did you like school?
I did not like
okay.
school.
So
No.
we were on the same page. Do you finish high school though?
I finished high school. I was actually the first person in my family to graduate high school.
Oh, nice.
So that was definitely an achievement.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished in 5 instead of 4 years
Okay.
because I just didn't care for
Right.
the first couple of years.
Were you out partying and having fun when you should
I
have been?
absolutely was. And I should have had more child and youth care practitioners around me. But then I did decide to become a child and youth care practitioner and
Yeah.
went to Lambton.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
then from there too, like, was that a challenge for you to learn that and take that on, or did it come naturally to you?
It came really natural to me.
Yeah, why is that?
I think when you have some lived experience, it helps in those environments. I enjoyed what I was doing. Like, academically, I was okay in school. I didn't really struggle. My struggle was getting there
Okay,
and staying there,
showing up.
doing the work,
I getcha.
you know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But college I loved because they were speaking my language and I did not have to do math.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I hate math. I
Yeah.
still have to count on my fingers and stuff like that. Use a calculator. Thank you, Siri. But so you found your passion?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was because at a very young age, in high school, I started going, back then it was called the 404 Townhouse.
Oh, right.
It is now BGC.
Yeah.
But I started going there as a teenager and found some connections and had CYCs in my life that made a difference.
Yeah.
And then I started working there young. I think I was 16 when I
Okay.
started
Oh, wow.
working there and doing...
So just a couple years ago.
Yeah, just a couple. And then I fell in love. I absolutely fell in love with working with young people and seeing their potential.
Interesting. I like how you put that. You know, like a lot of people might say, well, I saw how I could help, or I could. You just said, I saw their potential. Like you look deep into to what they could accomplish in
Yeah.
life. Did that come from like your own, like going like somebody, obviously you had some people
Yeah.
believe in you enough to be able to look at them and go, you know, you do matter?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do matter, and you can do it, right? Like
Right.
you can. It isn't all the barriers in the world can be overcome.
Are we teaching enough of that still? Like, do you think that's missing more than maybe, like, is it, how do I say this? Is it worse now than when you were struggling?
Well, the issues the young people
Yeah.
are dealing with today is way worse.
Yeah. How so?
Well, social media.
Okay. All right.
That is a massive, massive problem
Mm-hmm.
for young people in communication and all the connects. Like we think we're really connected through the internet, but we're not.
Yeah.
Accessing services is easier
Right.
in the sense of there's virtual options, there's hybrid models, etc. But I don't know that we do a really great job at talking about overcoming barriers
Right.
as much as we could.
Yeah. There's pros and cons to the internet, right? You know,
Oh,
I mean, I would
absolutely.
argue, you know, like there's no negative on my Facebook,
Right.
but there's also you have to learn how to ignore some things, et cetera. And to your point of, you know, we think we're connected. Like, I started doing interviews online over COVID, and then when that opened back up, I kept doing it, and then I was like, no, I need to.
Yeah.
Especially in Sarnia, I can get anywhere pretty quick.
Yeah. And face to face is always better.
This is much nicer,
Yeah.
right? And can we get back to that, do you think?
I think it's just going to look different. I think that our generation needs to adapt a little bit more.
How so?
Well, we didn't grow up with the internet. We
Right.
didn't, thank goodness.
Well, right?
But like we didn't have Facebook or Snapchat or
Yeah.
TikTok or all of those things. And so I think we need to be aware of what those things are. And then instead of just saying, you know, social media is bad, teaching the skills on how to manage social media.
Right.
So that's what we try to do at Rebound is, you know, we're not saying you shouldn't have social media. We're saying, how are you going to manage that? And so teaching those really concrete life skills, communication, goal setting, decision making, is extremely important in every aspect.
Yeah. No, I like that decision making because again, people will say, "Oh, Facebook's the problem." It's not Facebook that's the problem. It's the person using
Exactly.
Facebook. I treat it like real life.
Yeah.
If you and I have a problem, I don't confront you in front of a group,
Yeah.
i.e. on newsfeed, and I private message you, I pull you aside, and if you keep doing it, eventually I just block you, and i.e. I don't hang out with you
Yep.
anymore. But again, yes, I like that you say that we need to learn to adapt to those things that it's not going away.
No.
So do we need to make it a part of our school curriculum and different other ways? And the parents, parents used to just have to say no to drugs.
Yeah. Just say no.
Just say no.
Yeah.
And maybe the sex talk, you know, the birds and the bees. Those kind of conversations, are we still having those ones? And do we need to add in these new ones now as a parent? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. I also think it's about, as parents, how much we are on our phones, social media, because I'm guilty, right? Like I have my phone with me at all times.
Yep.
So we're also modeling that.
Monkey see, monkey do, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how do we do that? Because that's if you talk about time, busy life has gotten busier because of the internet and stuff. How do we slow down and like, do we have those timeout sessions with the phone and stuff like that? It's not at the dinner table, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think every family probably has their own rules around that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, at our house, if we're sitting at the dinner table, nobody needs their phone.
Yep.
You know, it's okay to put your phone down to have a conversation.
Right.
You don't have to be connected. I think it's important that we teach our young people you don't have to be connected 24/7. Like when I was growing up, and probably yourself as well, we didn't have to worry about our phone going off at 2 a.m. because someone was upset.
Right.
Right? We found out about it at school the next day.
Yeah.
And so I think lots of those things we'll adapt to and change as time goes on. We also have to remember we just did live through a pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. That pandemic really gets blamed for a lot of things, right?
Yeah. Well, I
but
think,
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and they're like, as someone who is very lucky to be the bonus mom of a 16-year-old.
Yeah. The bonus mom. I love that.
Yeah. We lived through the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that was the only connection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't imagine, like, my kids are older, like, so they were okay, like,
Yeah.
but I couldn't imagine having a baby,
Yeah.
giving birth to a child, and then having young children and the education. Anyway, that whole, how was that for you, the pandemic, like, in your career and then on your personal side?
Well, in my career, I was teaching full-time at Lambton College in the
Right.
Child and Youth Care program at the time. It's really hard to teach about helping skills online.
Right.
We're such a face-to-face interactive profession, so that had significant challenges.
Yeah.
And then
On both sides.
On both sides.
As the teacher and the student, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And we would get together as soon as we could. So we tried really hard to integrate that, but there was a long time that we weren't, and that was tough. Personally, I had, so I am, like I said, very proud bonus mom. I have two kids.
Yep.
And so my oldest was fully in her career, but was living with her bio mom.
Right.
And so we didn't see her for like 2 months.
Right.
And that was so hard.
Yeah.
And then my youngest biological mom was also working in social services, but had to be working.
Right.
And so there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of worries about COVID.
Yeah.
And then my husband and I were both at home constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to learn to like each other again? Or? I can say that because I know him, but
Yeah.
Christopher, right?
Yes.
And but that was tough for some people. It's,
Yeah.
I do see you all day.
Yeah.
You know.
It was kind of lucky because I really like him.
Yeah,
so, but he is not a good person to just sit around.
Right.
And so I got a new front deck, back deck, flower beds.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Bring on another pandemic. No.
No.
But yeah. But you got through it.
We got through it, but it was tough.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy, yeah. And then, I mean, could you imagine going through a pandemic and not having the internet?
I know.
Like FaceTime or Messenger, or to be able to, like, I remember my mom was at Marshalloa Manor and I visited her through FaceTime.
Yeah.
And I was like, this sucks. Right?
Sucks.
So let's lead into that, the mental health side of things then. When you're a child worker like you are, and your husband is as well, so you're both hearing. I always say you're hearing everybody's crap, and dealing with it or guiding them, and you're like, how do you disconnect your? Like, I know you a long time, and Chris too. Like you're both very loving, caring people. How do you disconnect the heart?
That's really, really hard to do, if I'm just being really honest. It's something I've struggled with throughout my entire career. That self-care piece is extremely important, and I dip. And it goes like this for me.
Oh, really?
Sometimes I'm really good at it. Sometimes I'm not good at it. I am very fortunate to have, a great group of people around me that will call me out.
Oh, yeah.
When I am not taking time for me. Chris and I are both trying to figure out what's the best. What I have discovered is it's really good for me to get out of the country.
Right on. Take me with you. Yeah.
And then I can actually disconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shut the phone off.
And
Is shutting the phone off hard for you? I guess as an executive director, and aside from that, like I as long as I've known you, I know how sincere you are about your career and the people you deal with. So, do you have struggle turning it off?
Oh yeah. Absolutely, I have struggled. And it's not even just about being an executive director, it's just wanting to be available
Right. Yeah.
to people, because I have the most exceptional team. So they got it. Like they don't need me, they got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yes, Michelle, we got to go away.
yeah, exactly.
That's good though.
It's great. I'm very lucky that way, but I am getting better at not just being available.
Right.
I am a huge proponent of relational practice. And there's a difference between having a relationship and being in a relationship.
Ah, right.
And so we very much focus here on being in relationships. So we do that really well with young people. That's kind of our MO, right? Like that's what we do.
Yep.
But now as a leadership team, we're moving that into it being about how we lead.
Right.
And so it's about being present. It's about showing up. It's about being engaged with the staff, not to the staff.
Yeah. There's always, every time I've walked in this building, there's always been a good positive vibe.
Awesome.
You can feel it walking through the door, right?
Yeah.
And I know you share the space here with Big Brothers
Yeah.
Big Sisters, which seems like a good fit.
It's a great fit.
Right?
Yeah. And like Kaylin, the executive director at Big
Yeah.
Brothers Big Sisters, and we have constant conversation.
Yeah.
We make sure that this is a shared space. We just had painting done in the hallway,
Yep.
and that's all shared communication. And then, of course, the Dow Center for Youth board
Yes.
that we have here is phenomenal, all volunteers. And they just make sure everything happens. And that's always our goal, is that when you walk in, you feel welcomed.
One of the things I always like to eliminate as a stigma about Rebound is that you got to be a bad kid. You got to, get in trouble with the cops or something, and you're going to Rebound, which I think maybe at one point.
Well, that's literally how Rebound started.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, back in 1984, it was that. It was youth diversion only, and it was young people had to come here because they got in trouble with the law.
Yeah.
And that was usually like small theft, those kind of things.
Breaking and entering.
Breaking in, all of those things. And that absolutely was how we started in 1984.
40 years ago,
40 years ago, thank you. But 40 years later, we're a much different
Sure.
agency. Do we still provide youth diversion? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Do kids still get in trouble with the law sometimes and have to take one of our programs? Of course.
Yeah.
But that is such a small percentage
Yeah.
of what we do here. That was, we had one program that ran when we started in 1984, and today we have 21. And
21, I didn't know that.
Yeah, 21 programs. So we are far beyond just who the bad kids.
Yeah.
And the other piece to that is I personally have never met a bad kid.
Right.
I have met young people who haven't made the best decisions. I was one of those young people who didn't make the best decisions and needed a second chance. And that's something I've always loved about Rebound, is that it is a place for second chances. And so through our programming, like we have programs that are art-based. We have programs like school-based programs, we have drop-in, we have youth diversion. We're very proud of our roots and think that that's so important, that youth aren't going through the court system when it's not necessary, and that they're just learning those skills. So we will always do that, but small proportion.
Sure. And then the hub came along a few years ago.
Yeah.
And really, because that was pre-COVID.
Oh, yeah. It was 2017.
Yeah, so, but really good timing.
Oh, yeah.
Considering.
Yeah.
I've been through that a couple of times. Same thing, right? It's just a, I don't want to say a hangout, but kind of a hangout.
Yeah, it's a drop-in space.
But drop in, but a very positive. When I say
Yes.
hangout, it always sounds so like, we're hanging out. But,
Yeah.
another positive space there that has become a big part of Rebound. What are you seeing in the, how are the youth doing? How are they handling the crap?
I would say our youth are not okay. They're getting a lot of crap, right? If the adults aren't okay, and we are dealing with a significant mental health crisis and addiction crisis, not only in our community, but worldwide, nationally, then our kids aren't okay, right? And so we have a lot of kids who are struggling, and just because we don't see them on the street doesn't mean that they have great housing, right? I would say that we're very lucky to be to have the hub, to be able to connect youth to where they need to go. We have amazing partners, and we're accessing them at all times. But they're dealing with a lot of complex things in their lives, and like an example is. So the hub is divided into two different age groups. So we have 12 to 15-year-olds on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the other 3 days we have 16 to 24-year-olds. Right. We have never experienced so many 12 to 15-year-olds accessing our food pantry.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have a very small food pantry that we're just trying to help. A lot of our older kids, our 16 and 24-year-olds, might be living on their own. And so we try really hard to help them in moments. We partner with the Inn for that. But a lot of our 12 to 15-year-olds are asking.
12 to 15?
Yeah, because they're saying, do you have an extra loaf of bread? Because we don't have any bread at home. Because our economic life right now is not good.
Yeah. Yeah, the cost of, Jennifer woke me up one day to go, here's the grocery bill.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, because she handles that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had no idea. I'm like, I want more apples.
Do you?
I do, but, yeah. So, and I guess, and again, my kids are grown, so I don't see it. I don't hear about, like, oh, my friend Tommy, this and that, but 12 years old, that's, could that be, could that be the next epidemic could that be the next pandemic if we're not careful?
Well,
epidemic anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think that there are a ton of community partners coming together, especially like in health, social services, to really try and tackle this locally. We're very blessed to live in this community. Right. I talk to colleagues across the province, and not every community talks to each other like we do. So we're very fortunate to have a lot of key players at the table to try and come up with new and creative ways on how to help our kiddos.
Yeah. Kind of read my mind. Here, I'm going to say it again. Every interview comes up, what a great community we live in.
Yeah.
Even if we don't like each other sometimes, we still know how to come together and go, okay, that needs help.
That needs to be done.
Help,
yep.
And support each other. Like you even have, forgive me, I don't know what it's called, but you have like an executive director network?
Yes, so it's the Social Service Network.
Right.
Yep. Social service agencies and some health agencies, we come together every other month to talk about, themes that we're seeing. Are there potential partnerships? What issues are happening, and how are we going to address them?
Right. Nice. Okay. Switching back to you. You and your husband, and you say your bonus kids or whatever. What's when you're not here? Because I know you want to get out of the country and stuff, but what do you do in here to take care of yourself? And like, do you get time for hobbies and stuff?
So I've always been, people always ask me that, what are your hobbies? Yeah. And I usually say work.
Yeah. Well, you're dedicated, I know.
I'm a bit of a workaholic. Yeah. But I think outside of that, like, I really enjoy just hanging out with my family. Yeah. Life is so busy. And now our oldest is married.
Right, yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So she's very busy building her life, and it's beautiful. So getting us all together is often hard. But, and of course, our youngest goes to her mom's a lot of the time as well. So a lot of times it's me and Chris. Yeah. And we like each other, so we hang out. Movies, all the kind of normal day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, I know, and you like to travel.
I love to travel.
Yeah. Good. Is there somewhere do you have like a bucket list to travel?
The one place that I need to go to that I haven't been is the Netherlands.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Jennifer and I want to go there.
Yeah. It would be incredible, and my dad was born there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what part?
He was born in Friesland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when are you doing it?
Oh, I don't know. One day.
It's on the list.
It's on the list.
What about do you have any like jumping out of airplanes or anything?
No,
like that? Or
nothing
climbing
like that.
mountains or no? Wanna
Not
go
even a
see
little bit.
The pyramids or
Yeah, like seeing the pyramids would be cool, but
Yeah.
I'm not jumping out of anything.
Yeah, no. I want to. Jennifer won't let me.
I don't blame her.
She says the insurance isn't paid up or something. But because I could see you being, well, and knowing you the way I do, I see you having to be told to just stop,
Yes.
slow down,
Yes.
don't breathe,
Yeah.
right? But like you said, you've got people around you that kind of
Oh,
know
I
how
sure
to
do.
slap you into place and go,
Yeah.
hey, come on
Yeah.
over here.
Get it together, Holbrook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What is there, like, how did you get here? How did you get here to Rebound? Like before that, like I know you taught at the college,
Yep.
and which you were really in your element there because that's what you went to school for, and that fell into place.
Yep.
How long were you there?
Well, I'm still there.
Part-time?
Part-time.
Right.
So I've been teaching since I started actually at St. Clair College in Chatham teaching. So I've been teaching since 2006, but at Lambton since 2008. I did part-time, and then 2015 to 2022, I was full-time, and now I'm back to part-time.
Right. They must really like you if they're keeping you
They
around
must,
there.
yeah.
Or you like them and you don't give them the choice.
I'm like, yes, I will do that class.
Right. You're pretty fortunate. I'm sure you know, but I mean, at the same time, like people are fortunate to have you. Like the college is fortunate, Rebound's fortunate, but it really like your heart is really into this, what you do as a child and youth worker. Did I say that right? Child and youth worker.
Yeah, child and youth worker, child and youth care practitioner.
Yeah. So you got all these letters that I can't remember what they are, but you're really, because I think sometimes people they have a job and a career and they're like, it's my career, blah, blah, blah. But like you're really sincere about it.
Yeah, and I love coming to work.
Yeah.
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 And so just to go back to what brought me here.
Yeah, right.
So way back when I just graduated college in the 90s, I started as a volunteer table coach at Rebound, actually in Petrolia, because at the time I was working at BGC, and I was the program coordinator of the Petrolia programs, and then Rebound had a program there, so I started coaching at that time. And I fell in love with it. And then I was working for many years in group homes after graduation. And then there was way back when you only found jobs in the paper.
I remember.
And there was a program coordinator job for Rebound. That was in 2007. I started here back in our old building. When we had, I think at the time there was 3 programs and like 6 staff, and I just loved it. I love the philosophy of it. I love that it's grassroots. I love that it's community built. Like that just always was really attractive to me. But then it was also how we handled youth.
Right.
And so it was those second chances that I mentioned earlier, and it was about you are good enough.
Yeah.
You get to.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Yeah. So I did that for a few years, moved into management here, was enjoying that, and then I went off and got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree because my dream was to teach at the college full time. Mm-hmm. And so I did that while working here, and I eventually got a full-time job at the college, and I still stayed connected to Rebound. Yeah. I did some consulting. I, was connected to some of the people here, previous executive directors I would chat with. And so it was always a part of me somehow. And like I was a volunteer girls mentoring. And then, so Carrie McEachran, our previous ED, went off to be the CEO at the chamber, and this opportunity came up, and I honestly thought I was going to retire from Lambton College, and that is an amazing job with great benefits, all of those things, but my heart was here. And so I got the best of both worlds because I get to be here, but I also still get to teach.
So now it's your jam,
Now I love it.
and you're loving it. And but I imagine, were you scared?
Oh, I was so scared.
That's quite a title.
Yeah. And because of my connection to Rebound, everyone thought I knew more than I did.
Right.
Right? Like I knew Rebound, I knew the programs, I understood all that, but I didn't know,
Yeah.
you know, the reporting and, you know, the funding and all of the things that I've had to learn over the last few years.
And still learning.
And still learning, my
Right.
goodness, yes.
When recently celebrating the 40th year of Rebound, and you know, I was thrilled to be here. So you've been executive director for about 3 years?
Yeah, it'll be 3 years in June.
So I mean, I didn't realize you had a connection as long as you did to Rebound. So you're sitting there and you see, I can only call him Mr. Cook, because when I was in high school, he was I don't know, he was principal or vice principal at St. Clair.
Yep.
And when I saw him, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Sitting there watching, and like, were you having a like, wow, 40 years and I'm in this chair now? What were you thinking about?
I think being in this chair at this agency is an absolute privilege every day.
Yeah.
Those moments, there was so much pride.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough, so we have 3 founders, you know, Dee Cox, Terry Fitzgerald, and Barry Symington.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, have all passed. But to have Barry's wife, Betty, was here, and his son, and to know that that legacy will live on, it was really emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were busy that day, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're like, we live streamed that, and then you were running around. Everybody wants to say hi and congratulations. When you finally got home, did you reflect on the day?
Yes, and this whole year has been a year of reflection on Rebound.
Oh,
So
yeah?
we did so many events throughout
Yeah.
the whole year to celebrate, and our last one was being in the Christmas parade, where we won one of the best floats.
Say it loud.
Yeah, so I was
Right
pretty
on.
excited about that. But it was
Congratulations,
such a good mixture of celebrating with youth and celebrating with community. Like we had our variety show, which was all youth, and then
right, I forgot about
and then
that.
our open house. We had some youth, but it was mostly community
Yeah.
members, previous volunteers, board members.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been, after every one of those events, there's a lot of reflection. And I'm so excited to see what's going to happen in the next 10 years.
You do get some funding from the government.
We do.
But it's not as much as I think. Like let's.
I think a lot of people think we get a lot of money,
Yeah.
but we have an almost $2 million budget now,
Yeah.
and about 20% of that comes from the government.
So you got to spend time raising the rest.
So we are doing that through partnerships, contracts, grants, fundraisers, donations. So we are pounding the pavement every day.
Yeah. So that's a big part of your job.
So I'm very lucky to have a fundraiser and marketing person, but yes, it is a big part of my job to have the hard conversations about, so do you want to pay us more?
Yeah. So $2 million is your
Our annual budget.
That's the break even.
Yeah.
Kind of if you look
Yeah.
at it from a business perspective.
Yeah.
$2 million a year. And that's likely going to increase because of, you know, when you talked earlier about the youth and the things that are happening, and who knows what's going to get invented next.
Absolutely.
That might affect that, you know, the bullying, the things missing at home, like it's rare. I would say, I remember I was like 14, my parents divorced, and then my sister and her husband, like, they're still married, and when their girls were in school, they were rare. Like, your parents are still married?
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, that's happening more.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on this, like, the ribbon thing? You know, like, everybody gets a ribbon, and everybody gets You know, I'm going, yeah,
Attendance
yeah,
certificate.
we're not scoring the goals anymore.
Yeah.
Have we gone too far with that?
Well, I think that there's arguments on both
Sure.
sides for that.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that we don't need ribbons for everything. I think
Yeah.
it's good to build that. I think it's really good for young people to face adversity,
Right.
and to see that you can't always win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's okay to fail too, isn't it?
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Like one of my sayings around here, and if you talk to the staff, they would say it. I say all the time, mistakes are proof that you're trying.
right. Right.
Yeah.
I agree. And one of my favorites is success and failure are friends. They're not opposites, right?
Yes.
And why are we so afraid to fail?
Because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. You must deal a lot with parents too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you know, okay, you're dealing with the youth, but how far does Rebound have to go, and maybe even you personally with your job have to go with talking with parents? And well, you're juggling a lot of personalities, Michelle.
Yes. And, you know, for young people, their family is how they define it. Sometimes it's parents, sometimes it's caregivers, sometimes there's other support people.
Right.
So with that, you're not going to work with the youth without having other people, right, attached to them. And, well, it's very rare that you would. We try, like, we have really strict confidentiality around here.
I would think so.
Of course. So we contact parents like when we need to, but we don't share a lot of the information about the youth. But we love to talk to parents about what we're teaching them. We have parent nights, parent caregiver nights halfway through our programs, just to be like, this is what we've done so far. This is what we're going to do. That's an incredibly important part. That is something that's missing. That we could do better. Is engaging parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I, you know, you talk about the confidentiality side
Yeah.
of things. That would, I would think, me as a teenager, I'd want to know that.
Absolutely.
That I come in and you're not going to go tell mom and dad how whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, unless somebody's, you know, in danger of hurting
Of course.
themselves or someone else for that matter.
Yep.
And then that's good because as a parent of a young teenager, if they were still teenagers, I was like, well, I want to know what's going on because I want to help.
Yeah.
But we have to, it's hard for a parent to let go sometimes, right? And go, you know, if you don't want to talk to me, talk to somebody.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, this parenting thing.
It's hard.
Like, right?
It's the hardest job I've ever had.
I wouldn't want to. Well, I wouldn't want young kids today. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Right?
it'd be a challenge.
But and what about that? Like parents, is there support for parents as well? Like I know you're talking about parent night here, but is there anywhere in the community where parents can just go and talk about, you know, my kid's driving me crazy, but I don't know how to handle it, or is there anything like that?
I think there's some really good parenting groups
Yeah.
in our community. Like I know, like St. Clair Child and Youth, you know, Lambton Public Health. All these places are providing really great services to parents and caregivers.
Yeah. So fundraisers, what? That's. I know you've got some support there, but you got to keep coming up with, because everybody wants money, and other organizations are reaching out and saying, we want money, support us, support us, support us. So how do you get that? Like, how do you say support us?
Yeah, and I think that we just continue to talk about what we do, and I think that attracts people about, you know, being community driven, homegrown. You know, we try and come up with some really inventive kind of fundraisers. So, for example, last fall we did like a dinner at Hogwarts event.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear about that until after. I was like, oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, it sold out really fast.
Nice.
You know, our gala, we have our annual gala. I think we're 20-something years this year, but it's a Bridgerton theme. This year, so that's a very popular show on Netflix, and that also is sold out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just comes back to show the community support too, right?
We would not be here without the community.
Put that on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because 80%, that's That's a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, we do get grants, you
Sure.
know, like, but that's constant grant writing.
But even, I was going to say, that's a full-time job in itself.
Yeah.
Just applying for grants and doing anything.
Yeah.
And I think most people would agree. I hear positive things all the time about Rebound in the community, and you know, and the staff and everything as well. But there is somebody we haven't spoken about yet that is an important part of Rebound, right? It's a fish over here.
Yes, my
I don't know how well you can see the fish. I'll get some B-roll of that. But this is Old Blue.
Yes, that's what I call him, Old Blue.
Okay.
So at Rebound, we have some memory hooks.
Okay.
We have the Rebound Star. We have Old Blue. So Old Blue stands for, the old is like you're always a part of Rebound. You'll notice when you leave that there's handprints.
Yes.
And that's youth who've been here. You'll always be a part of it in whatever capacity you want to be. And then blue is an acronym that stands for I belong, I am loved, I am unique, and I am encouraged.
Wow.
And we provide, so we have, we call them Old Blue. They look like the world. And we give them like necklaces at the end of a program and a card that explains Old Blue. And it's just one of those memory hooks like, yeah, you always got someone. You always got someone.
You can stay connected to Rebound.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of staying connected, you know, like you talked about a couple of weeks ago when you were first connected to Rebound, are you still connected to some people that, like you met, you know, through the college or Rebound that, you know, they're not working anymore, but are you still connected to some of those influences?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I've been so blessed to have so many different mentors throughout my career. And I mean, in 40 years, there's been 4 executive directors at Rebound. That's it.
Wow.
Wow. So
you got 7 more years left.
So I have access to all previous executive directors.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. One actually sits on our board now.
Okay.
Which is phenomenal. One is retired, and then the other one's Carrie, who is at the chamber. So I can reach out to all of them, which is is so great. And then, I have some colleagues that I've had over the years that I'm connected to.
Is there anything you haven't done yet? I know we talked about like the travel and stuff, but I mean, like, is there, you just don't see yourself doing anything else, eh?
Not at this time.
Like, it's just,
It's interesting because I've
not
been
that I'm telling you should. I just, you know.
But I've been asked that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, what's next? As if Rebound is a stepping stone.
Yeah. It's a fair question.
It is a fair question, but I'm nowhere near thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a fair and honest answer too, right?
I feel like I'm just starting to understand this role 3 years in.
Right.
Like,
how about life in general? Are you as smart as you thought you were?
Oh gosh, no. No.
Neither. Yeah. What are you learning?
Oh, I'm learning a lot about me and my own leadership style.
Okay.
And for me, partnership is so incredibly important. We can't do things on our own, right? Like Rebound can't do all the things that we do without our community partners, whether that be a donor, grant, but more importantly, the people, right? And so I tried really hard to just engage with the people. And how are we going to help this community?
Right.
Not how is Rebound, not how is this agency or that agency. How are we? You know, and knowing our lane and say, oh, well, we can't really do that. That's out of our scope. But we could offer this. There's a lot of learning around that. And then, you know, there's the whole governance piece, right? I've been on boards. But being on the other side is different.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of those people, I really like policies and procedures.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about, and listening, right? You know, like that's, you sort of said that in there, like learning about the other side of it. Like listening can be hard.
Yes.
When you, especially, well, I mean, you like to have a plan. I'm sure you go into a meeting or whatever, and you want to do something. It's like, here's the plan. This is how we're doing it. Was that something you had to learn as well? Was that one of the challenges for you?
Yeah, I think that over the years I've learned that I need to just step back and hear everything and everyone. Yeah, I feel like I was doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. What else have you learned as not even just as an executive director of an important organization, but you know, as a parent and a spouse, and like what's your biggest takeaway from life so far?
That's a deep one.
Yeah. Or you probably have multiple, but
yeah,
what kind of stands out currently for you?
Is truly finding the joy in all the moments. And sometimes it's hard to do. Yep. But trying to find the joy in every moment and at every stage, and being able to look at a challenging situation and go, okay, so what's the best outcome? And for me, that is about finding that joy. Like, you know, I'm going to fail. I'm going to make mistakes.
Along the way.
Absolutely. I have, and I will continue to. And I'm a true believer in owning that and then fixing it.
Right. Accountability, all that stuff. I've been quoted many times as saying, seek out the greatness in everyone, including the ones you don't like.
Yes.
And that's the tough one, because I like Michelle. I can see the greatness. Oh, hey, she's great at this and that. But how are we as a community doing about how we look at each other? Are we being fair?
Well, I think if we look at social media, there's always going to be people who have something to say. I don't know that I can properly answer that question. I mean, like, from my perspective, I think things, but there's many perspectives in our community, so I don't know that everyone would agree with that.
Are we too judgmental?
I think that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's tough, though. I mean, we judge. We always have from the beginning of Earth, right? We're going to judge the color of your hair and what you're wearing and stuff, but there's a lot of stigmas out there. Like, you just go back to the mental health thing alone. It's like, and hey, my mother spent a lot of time in we called it 3 East, right? You know, and you know, I got picked on because of that or whatever, or we'd say things like crazy and other words that we don't say anymore. But there's a heck of a lot more stigmas out there now than there was when we were in school.
Or is there, or is it just more noticeable because we have this computer in our hand?
Well, true to the point, right? Like I always said, like if George Washington fooled around with somebody, nobody'd care, because the Pony Express would just be getting it to us now, right? You know, so are we moving too fast then? Like life.
Yeah. I feel like that sometimes. Like I just gotta. I know for me, I sometimes just gotta slow down. Yeah.
You feel like you're gonna? Do you have that FOMO thing sometimes? Like, do you feel like, well, if I shut my phone off, I'm gonna miss something, or?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I am like a huge introvert, so it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss something social.
Yeah. Right. That'd be more me. I'd be like, oh, I turn that off. Ding, ding. Oh, yeah. But again, going back to your heart being in it, that's probably what makes it hardest for you to turn it off. Can we? Are we getting there? Are we as a community? Like, I know there's a lot of stigmas. There's a lot, homeless problem. And like you mentioned, like even like that's, and I know you know this, but it's been around a lot longer. We just don't see it because couch surfing, but now we're seeing it more on the street than we used to. And I'm not asking you what the solution is, because you, like everybody else, probably don't know.
Nope.
But can we get there?
Oh yeah, I think we can.
Yeah.
I think that the community just needs to continue to come together.
Yeah.
and I think we're definitely seeing pockets of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as like, I know we've got like Rotaries doing some things, and is Rebound, like, do you, like, I know you got the hub and stuff, but is Rebound partnered in with that type of thing? Because where we are with the youth right now, they could be the next.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, and I think we have a lot of youth who are housed precariously right now. So Rebound is at all the tables around housing, homelessness. We're dealing with young people who are living in some crappy situations. So it's important that we're there. I also think that prevention is incredibly important. Like, that's one thing. Another thing I love about Rebound is that it's prevention, early intervention is our plan, and the prevention piece is the hub in my mind. And I feel like if we're able to help youth younger, less likely will this continue.
And then we've got to help the homes too, right? Where they're coming from, or that maybe don't exist.
Yeah.
Because we go back to that. Well, monkey see, monkey do, right? You know, if you see mom or dad smoking, it's likely your kid's gonna smoke. Well, you are smoking, Dad.
Yeah.
You know, or you.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, I think kind of back to your original saying of yes, you can. There's a lot of youth. I think maybe the youth community, they don't get enough credit sometimes.
Oh, I agree. Young people are so incredible. Youth engagement is a huge part of Rebound as well.
Yeah.
And I am always so thankful for the youth and their thoughts and opinions, because I'm older and I think I know a lot. Yeah. But I'm not living that every day.
No.
And so hearing from the young people and what they need is a lot of how our programs are informed.
Yeah. And then they participate in it.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I know a youth that we were talking about the other day, and she had a goal of getting 500 hours community work that she didn't need. And then somebody said, well, if you get 600 hours, I'll give you $500 or something like that. And she did it.
Yeah.
And then she took that money and donated it all to something.
That's
100%
beautiful.
of it. And I was like, she's like 14.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, we talk about the stories we've been sharing here, and we talk about the need a lot. That really gets out there. But are we talking enough about like that kind of story? Could we be talking about that more?
Yeah, we absolutely could be. I think sometimes that gets put in the background because some kids aren't eating.
Right.
Right. And so we have to make sure that happens. And there just isn't enough, there isn't just enough people to kind of take care of it all. But I do think we could celebrate youth way more.
How do we do that?
I think that, doing things like this
Social media,
and talking about, the importance of celebrating and ensuring, like, adolescence is a struggle. It doesn't matter what home you live in. It doesn't, none of the factors matter. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
We believe that adolescence is a time of risk.
Right. Right. It's a good way to put it.
So it's really important that we are helping, but you're right, we need to celebrate. And one thing that I think we do that pretty good here, or pretty well here, we have at the beginning of our meetings, we talk about magical moments.
Oh.
And those magical moments are the celebrations. And the celebrations look different. It doesn't have to be a youth who did 500 community hours. It could be this young person reached out to me instead of me having to reach out to them.
Yeah.
And then I also share those at our board meeting, so that our board, even though it's a governance board, can see operationally, this is why you're doing the work you're doing.
And this is working.
Yeah.
Or this isn't.
Yeah.
So
or this
we need
isn't.
to adapt and change to that as well. Have you continued the online thing, like, service-wise after COVID?
So online is available,
Yeah.
but what we found is that youth don't want it.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Eh? I would have thought it's like even the teaching thing. When I was I was teaching a live streaming class. I was like, yeah, live stream the live streaming class. Nope, horrible.
Yep.
No, it was a huge disconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's something said about human interaction, right? And
Even for the introverts.
yes, even for the introverts. And I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought of where I was going with that.
Yeah, we were talking about like the young folks don't want it. They still
Oh
want
yeah.
the,
So we like hybrid services or online services are available.
yeah.
And they're offered especially for our county youth.
Yeah.
But we're finding they don't want it.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Right. Do you see an increase? Like it's pretty cold outside in this January. Like, do you see an increase needed, even just mental health wise?
Yeah.
Because it's wintertime and it's cold, and I mean, you already know, like there's it's a tougher time of year
Yeah.
for people.
For sure. And we're lucky today the sun is shining.
It is.
Yeah, which
It
is beautiful. Yeah, we have seen a demand for our service go up
Yeah.
pretty steadily.
Yeah. And through COVID, I know like it was where you, a lot of organizations dealing with mental health and stuff were like concerned because they weren't seeing an increase, but when it was over, oh man, all of a sudden now, right?
Yeah.
Was that the same thing?
Oh,
that happened here?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to tell you, like I've been looking forward to this conversation because we don't get to sit down that long
No, we
very
don't.
often and just talk whatever, right? And,
Yeah.
and I know you're really busy. I'm pretty determined, though,
Yeah.
as you know, and aggressively determined. I don't know if that's the right word. So, and I always tell people that I appreciate, I watch from afar.
Yeah.
I listen to other people and gossip, if you will, and like you're doing really well, Michelle.
Oh,
like
thank you.
There's a lot of positive things happening. There's things that you're doing here that are very positive, and I know it's not all you. You've
Oh,
got
it's
a
the team. They're incredible.
But your leadership, because I remember when you said, "Oh, I got this," like you were scared.
Oh,
You
yeah.
were like, I can't
yeah.
breathe.
Yeah, I was like, what am I
Right?
doing?
Yeah, but you're breathing great, and I think the community is very fortunate to have you involved
Thank you.
in anything. So, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. My
I've
pleasure.
enjoyed it.
Me
and
too.
now the fun part is, once I shut the camera off, I keep talking, and we have the after interview that you don't get to see. But thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
your time here today.
Of course.
And thanks to all of you who are watching. We want to share this with everybody we know. So click the share button, click the love button. And of course, as always, that's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. We'll see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it.